On the anniversary day, I prepared everything early. I bought fresh ingredients and cooked a table of his favorite dishes. I put on his favorite white lace nightgown. I turned on the mood lights in the house and took out red wine and candles. But when it was almost 12 o'clock, there was still no news. The food on the table was cold and then heated, and then hot and then cold again, and it had lost its original beauty and became unattractive. I numbly called Howard again and again. As expected, he didn't answer. At this time, the doorbell rang. I happily went to open the door, but what came into my sight was a delivery man. "Hello, are you Ms. Liana?" I hummed and took the package from him, thinking it was his anniversary gift to me. I couldn't wait to open it, but saw a disgusting scene. For a moment, my mind went blank, buzzing, and the photos in my hand scattered all over the floor. Howard cheated on his wife, with Lorelei, the woman he had been dreaming about day and night. There are photos of him accompanying her shopping, photos of them kissing on the street, photos of them partying in the bar, and even intimate photos of them in bed. In the photo, Howard's eyes are full of love for Lorelei, and he is happy from the bottom of his heart, which is not the case with me. The person I love is loving others with all his strength. I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my chest, and tears blurred my vision, falling on the screen of my phone. I couldn't type out what I wanted to say. I clutched my chest in extreme pain, and I felt like I was about to suffocate. At that moment, what really tortured me was not anyone's ruthlessness, but my own fantasies and expectations. I sat on the sofa like a puppet. After an unknown amount of time, the door opened from the outside. Howard's tall figure appeared at the door in surprise. I turned around and saw that in the past I would run over to him, throw myself into his arms, kiss him on the lips and tell him that he had worked hard, but now I no longer have the passion and impulse I had back then. He paused for a few seconds when he saw that I was not asleep, and seemed to be very surprised. But it was only a moment before he disappeared. "Why haven't you slept yet? Why do you have to cook so many dishes today?" He took off his suit jacket and put it on the sofa, then sat down at the other end. Before he came back, I found a dusty notebook in his study, and I opened it for some reason. On top of it was a record of their story of meeting, knowing each other and falling in love, as well as a thick stack of plane tickets, Shanghai to Canada, Canada to Shanghai. Howard remembers everything from birthdays to menstrual periods. The last page had 2 sentences written on it: "Howard will always love Lorelei. Howard wants to be with Lorelei forever." I finally understood why Howard had to go on business trips every month. It was because Lorelei had severe uterine cold and menstrual cramps. He went to take care of her. What about me? I had a stomachache and he told me to drink more hot water. It turns out that love and hate are really obvious. I calmly answered his question. "Today is our 3rd anniversary. Have you forgotten? Or did you not remember it at all?" Howard's face flashed with guilt, but it quickly turned into embarrassment. "You women are so troublesome. You have to celebrate this festival and that festival. How can I have so much time? Besides, I'm so busy at work every day. I have to earn money to support my family. If I don't make money, who will give you such a good living condition? You just want to use the festival to ask for gifts and money. Don't you women love to play this game? Tell me, what do you want this time?" Howard glanced at me coldly, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, snorted softly, and showed a sarcastic smile. I know he feels he is wrong and is just trying to find fault. I turned my face away and chuckled. "Explain yourself." I threw the photo in front of him. He caught it subconsciously, but what he caught was a photo of him and Lorelei in bed. Only then did he notice my swollen eyes. He probably guessed what had happened, and his brows were furrowed with a serious expression. Howard looked at me, lit a cigar, and slowly blew out smoke rings one after another. After a long while, he went to the safe and took out a contract. He handed it to me. It seemed like he was ready and didn't even bother to pretend. As for why he still pretends to be calm and condescending, maybe he wants to delay it for another day. He doesn't want to lose my gentleness and consideration, nor does he want to lose Lorelei's charming charm. I know him too well. I looked at the words "property transfer" on the contract and laughed at myself. 10 years of companionship in exchange for a deal. I forced a wry smile, trying to hide my emotions. "What do you mean?" "This is compensation for you. She's back. You move out of this villa today. I don't want her to misunderstand," he said calmly. I bit my lips and tried to hold back my tears. I asked with a pale face, then what am I? What are these 3 years? He sneered. Do you really think I'm your boyfriend? We are just sexual partners. There's a difference between a lover and a wife. Don't take yourself too seriously. The smoke he exhaled blocked his face. I couldn't see him clearly, just like I couldn't see his heart. At that moment, I felt hopeless. You love her so much? Even though she's divorced? Yes. My heart ached, and I collapsed on the sofa. I didn't expect that after so many years, he still couldn't let go of her, the person who had once led the bullying of me. I didn't know when, but tears kept flowing. Howard looked at me and said nothing. Before leaving, he specifically told me, you must move out today. Lorelai likes this place, and I don't want her to be sad. You know, don't make it difficult for me. After Howard left, I sat alone until dawn. I couldn't sleep, so I dug out his old phone. I found Lorelai's story in the memo. They have been in love for 3 years, and Howard has spoiled her like a princess. He will find a way to give Lorelai branded clothes, bags, gold and silver jewelry, luxury cars and watches as long as she wants them. Even if he went bankrupt, Howard would still save money to prepare surprises for Lorelai. He would even eat instant noodles for a month just to buy her a gift. He would remember that she liked to eat cherries, drink Starbucks, carry Chanel bags, and spray Yves Saint Laurent perfume. At that time, he would fulfill all the things he promised. Even if Lorelai asked for the stars in the sky, he would pick them. Even after she got married, he never gave up. Over the past 3 years, I have returned to Canada frequently, more than 100 times. When she had no money, he gave it to her. When she wanted a car and a house, he gave it to her. When she wanted a career, he gave it to her. It turns out, I taught him how to love, but he loved someone else. I don't know how I finished reading the 108-page memo. To be honest, I'm really envious. I turned to look out the window. It was daybreak, everything was over. After 3 years together, it took me only 2 hours to end this relationship. I didn't cry or make a fuss. I quietly packed my things. I realized that there were so few things I could take with me. I often ask myself if I have any regrets or resignation. In fact, it seems that I have none of these. I used to think that I would collapse and would not be able to live if I separated from him. But when I got to know him better, these complicated emotions seemed to disappear. After leaving, I was in a coma in the hospital for 3 days due to a fever. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, I met Howard and Lorelai, both of whom were in the field of obstetrics and gynecology. I just glanced at it lightly without lingering for too long. After all, I had already seen it clearly and let it go. However, before I took 2 steps, Lorelai called me and stood in front of me. Liana, long time no see, you look so haggard. Lorelai held Howard's arm intimately, while Howard held her waist intimately. Anyone who saw this would say that they are a very loving couple. Lorelai is talking to you, can't you hear me? Howard scolded me with an unhappy look on his face. I looked at Howard. This was the man I had loved for 10 years. It's okay, Howard. I know Liana doesn't like me, but I don't blame her. It's my own fault. Lorelai pulled at the corner of Howard's clothes shyly and aggrievedly. Howard gently comforted her and wanted to say something, but Lorelai's name was called out over the radio. Howard, go get the report. Liana has a misunderstanding about me and I want to explain it to her. I'll wait for you here. Howard hesitated for a moment and said, I'll be back soon. He gave me a warning look before leaving. After Howard left, it's just Lorelai and I here. She also put away her previous fragility and gentleness, and immediately put on a sarcastic and mean face. Lorelai, there's one thing I don't understand. How do you manage to make everyone hate you so much? I looked at her with contempt. What do you mean? I rolled my eyes and snorted. Aren't you tired? Pretending to be a decent person every day. Lorelai smiled instead of getting angry, crossing her arms proudly. Liana, you must really hate me right now, right? You must be really sad, right? But what can I do? Howard just loves me, not me. Also, we are planning to have a baby. Howard is worried about my health and brought me here for a checkup. Alas, it's all Howard's fault for being so strong. I can't handle it anymore. Lorelai deliberately put her hair behind her chest, revealing kiss marks of varying sizes. You haven't changed after all these years, you're cheap and hypocritical. As for Howard, he's just trash, take it if you want it. After saying that, I turned to leave, but Lorelai grabbed my hand. The next second, Lorelai fell to the ground and burst into tears, attracting a lot of onlookers. Howard also ran over from the crowd, helped Lorelai up from the ground, and asked her with concern, "Are you hurt? Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere?" Lorelai cried and shook her head, then looked at me. "Liana, I know you don't like me and have opinions about me. I wanted to explain it to you clearly. After all, we are a family, but why did you push me away? You knew I was preparing for pregnancy. What if I got pregnant?" Before Lorelai could finish, a loud slap landed on my right cheek, and I immediately felt a ringing in my ears and blood gushed out of my mouth. "Liana, I didn't expect you to be so vicious. Lorelai wanted to get along with you, but you treated her like this? Is this what our family taught you all these years? Kneel down and apologize to Lorelai right now." "Howard, it's okay, Liana didn't mean it." Lorelai lay on Howard's chest and looked at me proudly. "And the people around me also accused me of being heartless, cruel, and a bad woman." "Oh, so it was the adopted daughter who bullied the future sister-in-law. That's too much. How could there be such a person in the world? I've seen a lot of disgusting people like this. She just can't stand her sister-in-law competing with her for favor, so she does bad things everywhere. Kneel down and apologize. Kneel down and apologize quickly." I listened to the abuse from the people around me, and looked at Howard's resentful eyes, and my heart was completely broken for a moment. He was like this, no matter right or wrong, I would always be the one who was wrong. I wiped the blood oozing from the corner of my mouth. He pulled Lorelai out of his arms and slapped her foundation-covered face with a crisp slap, leaving an obvious slap mark. Lorelai was also shocked by my action. "You! How dare you hit me? You dare to wrongly accuse me, why don't I dare to hit you? Lorelai, can you use your brain? The hospital has surveillance cameras. Do you still think this is in school? You haven't had enough fun framing me?" Lorelai knew she was stupid, and panic flashed across her face. You're talking nonsense, I didn't frame you." I smiled and pointed at the surveillance camera above her head. "Do you think there is no surveillance camera in the blind spot? Do you dare to go and see what happened just now?" Her body trembled and stiffened. Suddenly, the public opinion around me was on my side again. They all started to blame Lorelai. Howard calmly called security to clear these people away. "Okay, I think there is a misunderstanding in this matter, but Liana, you still have to pay attention to me. Lorelai is kind-hearted, but I am different." After saying that, he took Lorelai's hand and left. Watching them walk away, my stomach churned. To be honest, I didn't realize how ugly his face was until now. It really made me sick. On the way back, I saw many tearful moments. There is a happy family of 3, with mom and dad holding their child's hands and holding vegetables they just bought from the supermarket. The little girl asked in a baby voice for her mother to hold her, but what she got was her father lifting her above his head. There was also a cleaning man who picked up the chicken legs from the bowl and gave them to his wife. They sat on the side of the road and happily ate meat buns. There were even young couples holding hands and discussing what movie to watch. I felt so happy watching them. It seems like I haven't gone out on a date with Howard in a long time. We even went to the movies together 2 years ago, and shopping was even further away. I suddenly remembered what my best friend told me before she went abroad. She told me that Howard was not someone worthy of trust and that one should live a wonderful and romantic life. At first I didn't believe it. I didn't believe Howard would do anything to hurt me. Now I believe it. I was so stupid that I was played by others. Passing by a bridal shop, I suddenly had an idea. I looked at myself in the mirror wearing a wedding dress. Suddenly, I couldn't help but think of something that happened many years ago. I grew up with Howard. My parents died in a car accident, and I came to Howard's house when I was 5 years old. Because of the incident, I became introverted and quiet, so Howard's father asked him to take good care of me. In high school, I met Lorelai, the stain on my life. Because I was close to Howard, they all bullied me, saying that I was a jinx and a scabby boy who had killed my own parents and now was pestering Howard. Howard would always stand up for me and fight back against them whenever they bullied me. He would gently bend down, touch my head and comfort me. "Liana, don't be afraid, I will protect you from now on." I really believed it. But later, Lorelai took the lead in bullying me. They cornered me, my school uniform was torn to pieces, my hair was cut, and the slap marks on my face were even more obvious. I thought Howard would save me like he always did. But I was wrong. Lorelei shed a few tears and he softened his heart and told me it was just a misunderstanding and not to pursue it. He also specifically asked me not to tell his father. I watched them walk away, feeling mixed emotions. My hero was no longer my supporter. That night I went to my parents' grave alone. I really wanted to tell them how wronged I was and how much I missed them. But they are so far away from me, I can't reach them. After that, I had a fever and fell into a coma, and stayed in the hospital for a long time. During that time, Howard came to accompany me and take care of me every day. Bring me my favorite cakes and tell me stories. Maybe he knows that I have been wronged. After I was discharged from the hospital, my world collapsed. Howard told me that he liked Lorelei and wanted to pursue her. I want to stop Lorelei, Howard interrupted me and accused me in a serious tone. Liana, it's been a long time since it happened. Don't hold it against your will. Lorelei has also apologized to you. Don't be so petty. At that time, I followed him and watched him try his best to pursue Lorelei. In order to make her happy, he bought her countless brand name bags, clothes, expensive mobile phones, gold, jewelry, diamonds. Later, when they went to college, they became what others called a perfect couple. Lorelei, who was immersed in love, didn't forget to embarrass me. It was because I liked Howard. I was the only one who knew how many times they broke up and got back together. After graduating from college, Howard wanted to marry Lorelei. I thought my secret love was finally coming to an end when Lorelei rejected him and proposed a breakup. The reason was that she fell in love with someone else, and that man was an American. Lorelei quickly went abroad and got married quickly. Howard was extremely drunk that night, and when I arrived he was still repeating Lorelei's name. That was the first time I saw him cry. Even when his father used family discipline against him, he didn't shed a single tear. I cried too, I cried for myself. You don't cherish the one who loves you, but you treasure the one who doesn't love you. Now I finally understand why the kingdom of daughters is so difficult among the 81 difficulties. Since ancient times, love has always been the most difficult thing. Time flies and can never be returned. After returning from the hospital, I simply cleaned up my house and submitted my resume to many companies online. After doing all this, I rushed back to my hometown to worship my ancestors while there was still time. A small fishing village. I heard from my former neighbors that the small fishing village underwent a major reform last year, was discovered by developers, and was listed as a 5A scenic spot. This is my hometown, and Howard's hometown as well. But he hasn't been back for a long time. He said the fishermen were dirty, smelled bad, and the accommodation was poor. So he always used work as an excuse to not be able to come back with me. When I arrived at the fishing village, I headed straight to the cemetery. My family's cemetery is on a mountain. My dearest family members, my parents, live here. The road is very difficult to walk on when it rains, and it takes 4 hours to go back and forth. Just last year, my neighbor, Hannah, told me through WeChat that there were steps on this mountain road, a total of 777 steps. 777, what a coincidence, it's my birthday, July 7th. What surprised me even more was that the top of the mountain was full of sunflowers. When my mother was still alive, there were many sunflowers in the yard. She told me that sunflowers carry hope, so she likes them. I suddenly remembered that Howard said he felt guilty for not being able to come back with me, so he prepared a surprise for me. Could it be this? I walked closer, and in a trance I saw a figure approaching. I stared at him in amazement, stuttering, "Garrett, why are you here?" Garrett was also surprised to see me. It suddenly occurred to me that Garrett and I hadn't seen each other in 7 years. That year, Garrett was full of energy and unrestrained. During the evening study session in my senior year of high school, Howard and Lorelei skipped class that day. I walked home by myself at night and a few thugs came to harass me. He showed up to save me and got into a fight with a group of them. One of them died from a head injury afterwards. So Garrett went abroad to study in his senior year of high school. I felt very guilty and wanted to thank him, but it was too late. Later, Howard told me not to contact Garrett, saying that Garrett had a messy private life and this incident was directed at him. As time went by, I forgot about it. I didn't expect to meet you again here. Long time no see, Liana. He was still as high-spirited as ever, but a little more mature. I smiled. The world is big, so big that we haven't seen each other for 7 years. The world is also small, so small that we meet again here. After the worship, Garrett and I went down the mountain together. We seemed to have endless things to talk about along the way. As night fell, until the time of parting, he looked at me with deep eyes, as if he wanted to say something to me, but he stopped himself. What's wrong? Do you have anything to say? I asked puzzledly. After a long while, he asked, How are you and Howard? I curled my lips slightly, but the smile didn't reach my eyes. They broke up. He loved Lorelei. They should be getting married soon. Garrett was not surprised at all after hearing what I said. Look forward, the scenery ahead is more beautiful. There was a smile in his eyes, and I smiled too. Yes, one must always look forward. After we parted, I returned to the small courtyard where I once lived. I went to the supermarket and bought a broom and mop, ready to clean up. When I pushed the door open, I was dumbfounded. I thought the yard would be overgrown with weeds as it had not been lived in for many years, but to my surprise, there were no weeds at all and it was unusually clean. I once suspected that I had walked the wrong way. I went out the door again and looked at the house number, and it was correct. As I was wondering, my neighbor, Grandma Hannah, came over with a cane. Is that little Liana? I stepped forward and took Grandma Hannah's arm, nodding. Grandma Hannah, it's me. I'm back. Little Liana, where have you been these past few years? I haven't heard from you at all. Are you doing well? Are Howard's family members treating you well? Speaking of this, tears welled up in my eyes. Grandma Hannah was my grandma's best friend. She is 84 years old this year. I miss my grandma a little bit. When my grandmother was alive, she didn't ask me to be successful, she just wanted me to live happily. Grandma Hannah showed concern for me and told me about the changes in the fishing village over the past few years. Grandma Hannah said that all the roads in the fishing village have been painted, 2 peach trees are planted in front of every family, and those with poor economic conditions have been given 2-story houses free of charge. There are also many popular tourist attractions. During the peak tourist season, there are crowds of tourists, and more people know about the fishing village culture. I am more curious about who that great developer is. I held Grandma Hannah's hand and asked the question in my mind, Grandma Hannah, do you know who is the developer of the reformed fishing village? Grandma Hannah thought for a while and shook her head. I have a bad memory. I forgot that during the reform, we gave gifts to every family. Among the gifts was a business card. I'll show it to you. I didn't listen to what Hannah's grandmother said next. I thought about it and wondered if it was Garrett. After a long while, Grandma Hannah brought the business card. Is it him? I took it anxiously, wanting to confirm my thoughts. Sure enough, when I saw the name on the business card, my doubts were settled. It was really him. It was his small fishing village that was reformed and developed. Seeing my excitement, Grandma Hannah asked, Liana, do you know this boss? He comes to clean the yard every once in a while, and he does it himself every time. Oh, and he also built the mountain road when you went to the mountain to worship your ancestors. The villagers wanted to help, but he refused and said he wanted to do it himself. In an instant, my head exploded and everything went blank. It's him, then where's Howard? Where's the pebbles? Where's the sunflower? Isn't that a surprise Howard gave me? Grandma Hannah, where is Sunflower? Has Howard come? I asked anxiously. Grandma Hannah shook her head. Howard, what a snob. He hasn't come back in all these years since he moved away. I loved him for nothing. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind was in a mess. I was thinking about trying my luck the next day to see if I could meet Garrett again. I had a lot of things I wanted to confirm with him. But for many days, I went to the places that the villagers said he often went to, the pub, the dock, the bookstore, but I didn't run into him. I haven't seen Garrett since that day. It's like he disappeared from the face of the earth. It's like a dream I had. Now I'm awake. Time passed, and a month later, I returned to Shanghai. Howard has called me and sent me many messages this month, basically asking me to not be ungrateful. Even his friends sent me messages warning me and accusing me. When I was with Howard, they often made fun of me and called me a little licker. What worries me more than all that is that I haven't received any admission offers in this month. There were 2 companies that wanted to hire me, but I got cut out of both. I knew without even thinking about it that it was Howard's doing. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I received a call from Howard. As soon as the call was connected, his scolding voice came over. "Where have you been this month? Why didn't you move into the house I bought for you?" What a ridiculous thing to say. Am I a despicable person? "No thanks," I replied coldly. "Liana, why are you throwing a tantrum? I feed you well and provide you with everything, don't you know how to be content? Lorelai is not as lucky as you, why wasn't you the one being abused? No wonder you killed your own parents." My throat was choked and I couldn't say anything for a moment. I couldn't suppress the bitterness in my heart. It turns out that the end of love is slander, stabbing the other person in the most painful place. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Howard hung up the phone in annoyance. I collapsed on the couch, tears blurring my vision. It wasn't until Howard's mother called that I remembered that today was my birthday. In the past, Howard's family always celebrated my birthday with me, and they always provided me with gifts, flowers, and cakes. Howard would also prepare gifts for me and take time to spend with me. Maybe they are feeling guilty. Let's just forget about it this year and in the future too. Just as I was about to confess, Howard's mother's happy voice made it impossible for me to refuse. I swallowed the words I wanted to say. I had no choice but to pack up and take a taxi to Howard's house. As soon as I walked in, I saw Howard feeding cherries to Lorelai. Lorelai leaned shyly in his arms, and the two talked and laughed. Even when he saw me, Howard looked very cold, as if he didn't recognize me and focused on Lorelai. I looked down and laughed at myself, thinking Howard must have convinced them to accept Lorelai. It doesn't matter, I don't care anyway. Howard's mother saw me coming over and took my hand intimately and asked me to sit next to her. Her eyes were full of happiness and joy, and she had no idea that I was almost engaged to her son. "Liana, this is Howard's girlfriend. What a coincidence. You went to the same high school and university? You must be very familiar with each other." I smiled. It was familiar, too familiar. Lorelai seemed to be afraid of what I would say, and answered first. "Auntie, Liana and I are good sisters. When we were in school, Liana was a good student, sensible and gentle, and many people liked her." I sneered, how hypocritical. "Liana, is that so? You and Lorelai are so close." I didn't answer. I looked up and saw Lorelai's face turning blue, then white, then blue again. It looked extremely ugly. Howard was also like that, his face was as black as coal, staring at me intently, as if they were going to skin me alive if I said something wrong. I smiled, peeled an orange and put it in my mouth. Under everyone's expectation, I hummed. I could clearly feel that Lorelai and Howard both breathed a sigh of relief, followed by their laughter. It's so boring to expose them, I just like watching them act. For a moment, the atmosphere in the entire living room became much more relaxed. I looked up at him, and his face was full of contempt. Was he mocking me? What right did he have to mock me? Then I saw Howard holding Lorelai's hand tightly and chatting openly about interesting things in their past lives. I listened to Howard constantly finding topics to talk about. I felt a little bitter in my heart. It turns out that it's not because he doesn't take the initiative, but because he doesn't love me. During dinner, I looked at the cake in front of me with mixed feelings. At the urging of my elders, I closed my eyes and clasped my hands together. In the past, my wish was that Howard would be safe and healthy, and have a successful career, but this year it is not the same. I just hope that the people who love me and the people I love are safe and healthy. Howard was picking up food for Lorelai the whole time. What surprised me even more was that he, a misophobe, would roll up his sleeves and peel shrimp for her himself. I suddenly remembered that I had pestered him for a long time, but he was unwilling to peel a shrimp for me. He told me to do things I can do by myself and to be independent. Forget it. Time cannot stand being counted carefully, the past cannot stand being examined carefully, and things that you cling to for too long may be meaningless in themselves. After dinner we chatted some more and then I noticed that it was raining heavily outside. When I was thinking about how to get back, Howard had already arranged a car. I sat in the passenger seat while Howard and Lorelai sat in the back. Howard was very caring towards Lorelai along the way. He would ask if she was carsick or uncomfortable. I listened to the two of them talking and laughing, and silently turned my head to look out the window. The rain was getting heavier, and the road was slippery. The truck in front was driving very fast and in the opposite direction with its high beams on. The driver was blinded by the bright lights and didn't have time to turn, so the two cars collided head-on. At the moment of danger, the front of the car was smashed into pieces and the window glass was shattered. I was sitting in the passenger seat and my head was broken and bleeding. The glass fragments pierced my arms so deeply that the bone was visible, and blood kept pouring out and soaking my clothes. I breathed hard, and there was a sharp pain in my chest. Am I going to die? My consciousness gradually became blurred, and I suddenly heard the sound of the back door opening, and then Howard got out of the car holding Lorelei. Howard's anxious voice reached my ears. Lorelei, hang in there. I've called an ambulance and it'll be there soon. Through the rearview mirror, I vaguely saw Howard using his body to shield Lorelei from the rain. He anxiously contacted the ambulance, but he also comforted her. It was as if he had forgotten that I was in the car. I really wanted to say save me, but I couldn't utter a word. 20 minutes later, the ambulance arrived at the scene. Due to the slippery road conditions, several traffic accidents occurred. Only one ambulance could arrive, which meant that only one person could be saved at a time. The medical staff got out of the car, took a quick look at the situation, and suggested rescuing the more seriously injured first. Howard didn't hesitate at all between me, who was dying, and Lorelei, who was screaming in panic. Save my wife first. He chose Lorelei without hesitation. The ambulance drove away, and I slowly closed my eyes and waited for death to come. If there is a next life, I don't want to fall in love with Howard. Slowly, I lost track of where I was. Time passed slowly, and my vision became blurry. I would rather die, I am too tired, I miss my parents. Before I lost consciousness, I vaguely heard someone calling my name. Liana. Liana. I beg you to hold on. I can't live without you, Liana. Hold on. It was Garrett's voice. But I am so tired, I want to sleep. With one punch after another, the passenger seat's glass was finally broken. It was 3 days later when I woke up again. When I opened my eyes again, Garrett was sleeping on the bed. I looked at him sleeping, and I felt a lot of emotions. Including this time, he saved me twice. I wanted to reach out and touch him, maybe the noise was too loud and woke him up. He looked at me sleepily, his expression changed from surprise to happiness. You're awake, that's great. Garrett excitedly called the attending physician to examine me. The doctor said it was nothing serious, but Garrett was still worried and insisted that the doctor arrange a series of comprehensive examinations. He was relieved when the results showed that there was nothing wrong. He sat quietly in the chair and held my hand. I suddenly felt a damp heat on my arm. He cried. Liana, I don't want to let go anymore. I thought you would be happy if I let go, but I was wrong. My Liana has lost a lot of weight. I feel so sad. I won't let go anymore, so Liana, can you consider me, even just once? This was the first time I saw Garrett cry. In my impression, he was a lively, cheerful, and sunny boy. I stared at him blankly, but my heart was surging like a storm. When Garrett saw that I didn't answer, he panicked again and wiped away his tears. Don't worry about answering me. I have a lifetime to wait for you until you agree to me. I lowered my eyes slightly, and my heart was already rippling. During the days in the hospital, Garrett took care of me all the time, because he was afraid that I would be bullied. The day before he was discharged from the hospital, Howard's parents came with him, carrying a box of cherries and a contract. Howard's mother held my hand guiltily, her voice choking with sobs. Liana, we are sorry for you. It was because we didn't teach Howard well that he did so many things that hurt you and almost put your life in danger. We are sorry for your parents. This is the will your parents left for you. Now we are returning it to its original owner. I listened to their confessions without any ripples in my heart. Howard, why don't you apologize to Liana? I then noticed Howard standing at the door. He still looked like someone owed him $8 million. Arrogant and self-important. Howard came over reluctantly and threw me an invitation. His tone was very blunt. Lorelei and I are getting married on July 7th, remember to come. I rolled my eyes disdainfully and sneered. Howard saw that he had not achieved his goal, so he became angry and pointed his finger at me, saying something bad. Liana, don't be ungrateful. Then the next second, his chaotic voice was heard. It hurts, it hurts. I looked over and saw Garrett's hand twisting Howard's fingers. There was resentment in his eyes. This is my territory, please be more respectful when you speak. I thought Howard was very tall, but when he stood next to Garrett, he looked so small and so vulnerable. Okay, Liana, I see you really need a man. You can't live without a man, right? And you Garrett, you want a second-hand woman, you really are starving to a certain extent. Seeing that the two were about to fight, I quickly grabbed Garrett, thus preventing a farce from happening. After they left, Garrett sat there alone and sulked. I said I wanted to drink water and eat an apple, but he was unmoved. But after a while, he put what I wanted on the table and said to me proudly, "Do you still like Howard?" I realized that he was jealous, and suddenly I thought he was cute. I hoped he would explain what I was thinking, and then he would feel better. After being discharged from the hospital, Garrett and I returned to the small fishing village. We bought a shop in the small fishing village and planned to open a flower shop called Encounter. 5 months later, the flower shop officially opened. Garrett proposed to me in a suit with everyone's congratulations. After spending these days together, my heart has already drifted to him. Be brave for once, Liana. After Garrett proposed to me, he took me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. He said he was afraid I would run away, so he wanted an identity card. Life gradually returned to normal. Although I have had no contact with Howard during these days of separation, I have still heard about him to some extent. He held the wedding at the beach, surrounded by pink roses and hot air balloons, and Lorelei wore the wedding dress I designed myself. Just as the ceremony was about to end, the big screen began playing videos of Lorelei's great deeds, and different men. What's even more shocking is that her conversation with her ex-husband was also made public. It turns out that the reason why Lorelei returned to China was because Howard had made a comeback and she had run out of money from gambling. She wanted to come back and cheat some money. During these days when she returned to China, she has never lost contact with her foreign husband. Even the child in her belly now belongs to someone else. Howard was infertile and became a laughingstock. The company's stock price fell and was acquired by a company called LY. Howard will also face a huge lawsuit. Lorelei was also taken away by the judicial authorities for investigation because she was involved in 2 murders and gambling. Howard became a pariah, and his former friends all stayed away from him. I was working late at the flower shop making samples that day, and suddenly I heard someone calling me from behind. It was Howard. I haven't seen him for more than half a year. He has become much more haggard. The man who used to be so clean now lets his beard grow wild. To be honest, he deserves all of this. But I still want to thank him for not marrying me, which allowed me to find the happiness I have today. He tried to move forward, but was stopped by Garrett. Are you not scared? Garrett put his arm around my waist lovingly, his tone gentle. I smiled and shook my head. Howard knelt in front of me with tears streaming down his face. Liana, I was wrong. I have dealt with everyone around me. Please give me another chance, okay? I looked at Howard's current appearance, and I didn't feel much happiness. But at that moment, I saw the 17-year-old Howard. The Howard who treated me like a treasure. My youth said goodbye to him for me. Goodbye, Howard. I smiled and touched my slightly bulging belly. Sorry, I'm going to be a mother. Be brave to be yourself, don't be anxious, don't care about what others think, be the protagonist in your own world. The end of the story.